Hello, what's going on, everybody? Greetings to all you beautiful people out here tonight. So tonight, I'll be doing Black History, and also I want to. Before I get started, I want to give a shout out to the founder of the nation, God's Earth. Happy birthday to him. He was born on February the 22nd, and so I just want to give my dedication, my you know, give my pay my respect to Clarence 13 S. Allah, who's also known as Father Allah, the founder of the nation God's Earth. So shout out to the nation God's Earth. Peace be to y'all. Shout out to you guys. And also, so today I'm going to be dealing with a story about Ike Atkinson. So who is Ike Atkinson and what did he do? Well, this story makes it so interesting is the fact that he was a military sergeant. He was an army sergeant. And he was a drug dealer. Now, it's very rare to hear about somebody that served in the armed forces and dealing drugs on top of that. That could be a dangerous combination. Being a drug kingpin and being in the military. And then, by you being in a higher rank on top of it, being a sergeant, that could cause you to lose your position, and you can be receiving a dishonorable discharge, right? Meaning that you'll be released from the military and not be able to receive any type of benefits. That's just a risky thing to do, getting into the armed forces and then also selling drugs at the same time. But that's what he did. And also he was a associate of Frank Lucas. If anybody remember who Frank Lucas was, he was a Harlem drug dealer. Yeah. So I'm going to look at his information and his history. So what we're going to do is go ahead and check out who he was. All right. All right. So as you can see, that's the picture of Ike Atkinson, aka Sergeant Smack. All right. That's a picture of him. All right. So let's look at his biography. And then I also have a video that I want to play as well. So I'm going to go into his biography on Wiki1. Let's go ahead and look at that. As y'all can see, I hope everybody can see that. Cool. All right. So Leslie Ike Atkinson, who was born on November the 19th, 1925, and he died on November the 11th, 2014. He was a U.S. Army Master Sergeant and convicted drug trafficker believed to have been a major figure in smuggling heroin into the United States from Southeast Asia from about 1968 to 1975. All right. All right, so he had a criminal history. So Atkinson moved to Bangkok, Thailand in the mid-1960s and became a partner in Jack's American Star Bar. In 1968, he entered into the drug trade from the Golden Triangle through a Chinese Thai man named Luchai Ruby-Watts, who was a business partner in Atkinson's bar. Atkinson and his organization bought heroin at about US $4,000 a kilogram before being cut 4 ways and transporting it to the United States by military personnel. Hold on. Flown on U.S. Air Force aircraft, the heroin would eventually arrive at Fort Bragg, North Carolina, and other military basis and be sold to American distributors for $100,000 a kilo, netting a profit of about $96,000 per kilo. Okay, so now he was from Goldsboro, North Carolina. Atkinson's downfall came in 1975. A shipment of heroin was due to arrive at 2 addresses in Fayetteville, North Carolina, each belonging to an elderly black woman each belonging to elderly black women, and Army servicemen would come to pick up the shipment, saying it had been accidentally mailed to the wrong address. The plan had worked before, but this time one woman contacted the postal authorities. The other, fearing she had been sent a bomb, contacted the police. The police found Atkinson's palm prints on one of the heroin bags, and he was arrested on January 19th of 1975 in his home in Goldsboro. He was convicted the following year and was sentenced to 31 years in prison. Atkinson was released in 2007. Now, what was his relationship like with Frank Lucas? So, according to the Drug Enforcement Administration, Atkinson was in fact the main supplier of heroin to Harlem drug lord Frank Lucas after the two met in Bangkok around 1974. Atkinson take issues with the most famous aspect of Lucas' operation, the so-called cadaver connection, in which heroin was smuggled in the coffins of dead American soldiers coming back from Vietnam, instead claiming he smuggled the drugs inside furniture. All right, in the film American Gangster, which was released in 2007, Atkinson is represented by the character Nate, played by Roger Gunover Smith. The film depicts Nate as being Lucas' cousin. Actually, the film confirms that Ike was once married to one of Frank's cousins. Frank just called him cousin, but at one of the scenes, Ike said to a contact in Bangkok, "I'm his cousin," and then as I was married to his cousin. However, Frank Lucas claimed that Ike is married to one of his cousins, which made him likely akin to family. All right, cadaver connection. The cadaver connection was a supposed heroin smuggling operation involving hiding heroin in the American servicemen's coffins. Frank Lucas, one of Ike's partners in the U.S., claimed that this is how Ike smuggled the narcotic out of Thailand. Ike flew a country boy, North Carolina carpenter, over to Bangkok. We had him made up 28 copies of the government coffins, except we fixed them up with false bottoms, big enough to load up with 6, maybe 8 kilos. It had to be smug. You couldn't have shit sliding around. Ike was very smart because he made sure we use heavy guys' coffins. He didn't put them in no skinny guys. And that was Frank Lucas. But Atkinson, who used his long-life friend Leon as the carpenter, claims he never used coffins to smuggle the heroin. It's a total lie that's fueled by Frank Lucas for personal gain. I never had anything to do with transporting heroin in coffins or cavators. Leon, never had any association with constructing coffins for transporting heroin or drugs. On the contrary, Leon was in Bangkok hollowing out teak furniture. One time when I was in Bangkok, Frank came to visit. We used teak furniture to smuggle the heroin, and we were getting a shipment ready. Frank barred in and went right to the back. "What are you doing?" Frank asked me. I was caught off guard and didn't want him to know how I was moving drugs. The only thing I could think of to say was, "We are making coffins." Ike Atkinson. All right. So, prison and release. So, Atkinson was charged in 1987 while in prison for his part in another heroin smuggling operation, which was allegedly running from prison. He was charged following a 15-month investigation where an undercover agent posing as a corrupted German diplomat bought 5 pounds of heroin on Atkinson's behalf in Thailand. 6 other inmates and a correctional officer were also charged. The CO, Samuel Arante, 36, was charged because he was smuggling letters out of prison to prevent the authorities from reading the letters. Also charged was Mr. Atkinson's nephew, Philip Wade Atkinson, 40, who bought the heroin from the undercover German diplomat at the Watford Astoria Hotel, where he was immediately arrested. Atkinson was released from prison in 2007 and died in November 2014 at the age of 88. All right, so as you can see right here where it says in pop culture. So in pop culture, the concept of smuggling drugs from Vietnam via dead soldiers is referenced in Tom Clancy's book Without Remorse. A similar plot was used in the 1980s television show Miami Vice in the episode titled Back in the World, which was aired in December 1985. Vietnam was correspondent Ira Stone, who is investigating a series of drug-related deaths involving menthol poisoning, the byproduct of a decomposing drug stash that had been brought back to Miami more than 10 years earlier in the bodies of dead GIs. The investigation the investigation leads to a character known as the Sergeant, who turns out to be a rogue CIA agent named Colonel Maynard. The lethal drug stash is uncovered, but Maynard escapes only to reappear later in the series in the episode Stone Wars, first aired on October 1986, running an illegal mercenary operation in support of the Contras in Nicaragua. In the movie American Gangster, which was based on the life and time of Frank Lucas, his on-screen counterpart Nate is played by Roger Guinevere Smith. All right, so as you can see, there's the reference at the bottom of the page. Okay, so this is all the information I was able to gather up, but I have a video clip I can play. All right, good morning or good afternoon to everybody, or damn, I'm getting my time mixed up. Good evening, everybody in the chat. I appreciate y'all coming through. It's been a while since I seen some of y'all. I appreciate that. So shout out to you guys in the chat room. Let me go ahead and play this video. It's good seeing you too, Mr. Anthony. I hope all is going well with you, and I hope you're in good health and your family is in good health. Thank you for coming through. I appreciate it. It's been a while, most definitely.
The North Carolina mob is run by men who know a lot about the military. 10 of the top men in this organization are former sergeants in the Army or the Air Force. Federal authorities identify this man as the head of the North Carolina mob, Leslie Ike Atkinson.
There is no doubt in my mind, I know exactly how it got started. And I know the person that started it. I know I also know who involved the DEA in this and the Customs Service. And that person was Frank Lucas. And how it came about was I have this guy, the Leon Ellis in Bangkok, to do this furniture for me because I don't want to hire no tires to do it. While Frank was visiting me with me, I took him to Thailand for 5 days. While he was doing that, he came and he saw Leon Ellis out in the backyard. And before I could get downstairs, good, he's out there talking to Leon Ellis. And when he asked Leon, "What in the world are you doing in Thailand?" I busted in and said that he's making coffee. That's where Frank Lucas decided in his mind that we was bringing drugs in the coffee. He ain't bought no drugs no damn well. I fed him a story about Leon, and now he's trying to capitalize on it. I had him using my company card. He can't go nowhere without him. I put him to sleep. I wake him up. I put him on the plane. I have him get his passport. Let me tell you, I paid for his visa. Man was going to give him no visa. He had the record of what. That's why I told his wife, Shorty, and I don't remember Shorty and Wade, my aunt, but my nephew, they were there. I told them to wait out here. I take Frank in first. I paid $100 to the Thai embassy to give him a visa because of what his record was at the time. Two Italians stepped out of the thing. And they looking at me funny. I'm looking at them funny. What the hell's going on? So I just kept right on walking, picked the pace up towards my office, and got behind the glass. And one of them asked me just before I go in, he said, "Are you all right?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "Well, my name is such a very nice guy." But I mean, what? It didn't look very nice, but and the other introduced himself and everything. They said, "Want to talk to you?" I said, "Yeah. Come on in my place in here. I got my friends in here too. I'm in here behind the glass. Everybody can see me. Everything happens. You can't come up here and do nothing unless it's seen." And so we get in to talk. And they come in, huddle around and everything. They say, Frank, Frank. I said, "Yeah, Frank." I said, "What's happening?" He said, "Frank owes us 50 grand." And he said, "For us to get it from you, you would give it to us when we get out."
All right, so that was Ike Atkinson or Atkinson telling his story. So basically, according to him, Frank Lucas lied in his storyline about the whole, operation. So that was his reason for coming in to clear up the misinformation that was brought into the story. And then also the thing was, the part that got me, he said the man never carried a gun. So in this video, I noticed that they say he never carried a weapon. That's my interesting. But um, that's all for tonight. That's the video about Ike Atkinson or Atkinson. And if you guys want to check it out, you guys can just go on WikiOne and find out more information about him. Make sure you guys subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, share this channel. Also check out the contents, share the video, all that great stuff. Yep. I'm surprised too that somebody like Frank Lucas would lie about that. Yeah. I'm really surprised. But there are those who going to twist their storylines up to make it sound legitimate or try to make it seem like the other party is guilty and make themselves look like they're less guilty of the crime, So that's how it be sometimes. But anyways, thank you guys for tuning in. And I hope you all enjoy yourself. And also on March the 7th, I will be going live with my brother Gazy and Gozy. So please check that video out on March the 7th at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. 10 a.m. Eastern Time. I will be going live with Brother Ngozi from Team Osiris. And we're going to be getting into the history about gangs and the origin of the Vice Lords, and also dealing with the origin of drill music. Okay, so be on the lookout for that. Just give you guys heads up. Yeah, I'm gonna be going live with the brother. All right. But until then, you guys be safe, and thank you guys for tuning in, watching as usual, and thank you guys for subscribing to my channel. I really appreciate that a lot. So until then, I'll reconnect with you all later. Outside that, peace and power elevation be to all of you, and be safe. All right, take it easy.